So today we have a very special joint online meeting. So we combine our efforts of all Ukrainian Toastmasters club. And today we have actually 3 Ukrainian clubs. It's my native club, DniproHills. We before what time we usually meets on Sundays. Also, today we have ArtTalkers club. It's our very friendly club, and after the 21st of February, we meet with them together on Saturday or on Sunday, and you already know all of this. And today we have, as I said, Ukrainian clubs. It's called Best Odesa Speakers, and actually it's the only one club who are situated not in Kyiv, but in Odesa, but in Ukraine as well. And also it's very special club because they hold their meeting in 3 languages. So every Saturday they have Russian language or Ukrainian language, and every Sunday they have English language. So today, like a special Sunday for all our 3 clubs. And again, we are very happy that all of you can join us today. Our Toastmaster of the day today will be past immediate president of DniproHills, Helliwell, and I know that he prepared some very special topic for us as well. So Eric, this stage is yours.
Well, thank you, Licia. Thank you everybody for joining us today, especially those getting up real early. We really appreciate that support, from everyone else. I'm in Romania right now, hopefully making it back into Kiev in a little while, depending on the conditions of my work, etc. But I gave this talk a few years ago on the United States Independence Day, and I'm not going to get so much into it. I'm going to just touch on a few pieces of it. Before, the topic that I gave was on the many Independence Days of the United States. So we think about independence and also Constitution Day. I do kind of want to dedicate this also to the Ukraine, because it had its Constitution Day last Tuesday. And the Constitution is a natural result of when somebody sets anew to set in foundation principles upon which they wish to build. And that doesn't mean it's a final act either. One of the things that I made clear when I gave this talk, the United States has many Independence Days. As we went through all of our growth in there, we've had wars and changes in what we think are the rights of people to have, etc. It's kind of gone through a lot of evolution, and all countries will go through that. But you sort of, when you have your constitution, when that is set, that should be the living embodiment of what you want it to be, with the changes that will subsequently come afterwards. So that's what kind of, I think, a really good basis for a Declaration of Independence and Constitution would be, that growth can take place. And I won't get into too much about all of the details of the United States part of it, but the one thing that I did feel is important, a lot of what happened in the United States was based on Europe, the Age of Enlightenment, and really this belief that one of my favorite philosophers, John Locke, talked about that really we are all born with a clean slate. So a lot of this rhetoric that I hear about the past, and that both, from all over the world, the current conflict in Ukraine, etc. Really, when people are born anew, they are born free. They are born without obligations of the past. They are not tied to that past, other than the historical element under which the framing of their history is. But you are born with a clean slate, and you have the ability to go forward in life, to seek your destiny. And that's what I really like about kind of this period of time, why it's so important to me, as a renewal period almost. So timing really is everything. And I wanted to also introduce my technical team that's going to help me throughout this. And one of them is our timer, and he's going to tell us about his role from the Best Odesa Speakers Club. Sergey Rodchenko, please, could you introduce yourself and tell us what you're going to do?
Thank you, Eric. Hello, everybody. Today I'm a timekeeper. I'm playing a timekeeper role. And what's that mean for all of the audience? Today we have some part of our meeting. The first part is part of prepared speech. We have two prepared speech. First speech, it's an icebreaker speech. This speech have some own time till 4 minutes and 6 minutes. Today I have some problem with my technical device, and I show you paper cards. And when the first speaker reach 4 minutes, I show a green card. When he reach 5 minutes, I show yellow card. And when he reach 6 minutes, I show red card. Also, we have second speaker, and his time is till 5, 6, and 7 minutes. Also, we have table topic session, and time of table topic speakers is 1 for 2 minutes. When some technical table topic speakers reach 1 minute, I show green card. When they reach 1 minute and 30 seconds, I show yellow card, and when they reach 2 minutes, I show red card. Also, we have evaluation part, and all of evaluators have 3 minutes, but table topic evaluator had 6 minutes. Also, I advise you keep your hand in your time, because the time is very important in our meeting. Thank you for everybody. The floor is yours, Eric.
Thank you, Sergey. So again, Sergey, tell you that those cards will be up. So make sure you can pin him also. Is sometimes useful if you are a speaker, so that you make sure that he's on the main screen, so you can see those cards coming up. So one of my favorite, parts of this 4th of July, besides Constitution, I really like the preamble to the Declaration of Independence. A lot of the full Declaration of Independence is kind of boring. The end of it is really grievances against the prior governing bodies and why there needs to be a change. But I still feel these words are really, really powerful, this preamble. I'm going to take the patriarchy out of it and change men to all people, because this was sort of Old English, but also a little bit of patriarchy at the time here. But again, part of our growth is to recognize these things, that these grow over time. But the wording is really powerful. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all people are created equal, that they are endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So I really like the use of the word unalienable in there. Unalienable is a very powerful word that just says that it's sort of inherent in us, that this is not something that can be inserted or changed or anything. This is sort of built in. And I think it's very powerful. And of course, the themes of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness just kind of evoke this feeling of possibility. So words are really everything, and how we use words are very important to express ourselves and get across our points. So that's why I'd like to introduce the next member of the technical team, Alicia Curtis, our grammarian, who's going to tell us about what her role is in the process. Alicia, please.
Thank you very much for that, Eric. So I'm going to bring this up on PowerPoint, because this is how I like to roll, as we all know. Tonight, the language evaluator, where I come from, we call it the language evaluator, or the grammarian, is an important feature in any Toastmasters meeting. The purpose is to assist All members with improving their grammar and vocab. Tonight I'll be looking at the following techniques. So just be warned, I will be looking at quite a few. Alliteration, anaphora, characterization, emotive language, juxtaposition, imagery, metaphor, personification, satire, simile, symbolism, and triad. The word of the day is gratitude. So gratitude is a noun, and here's the phonetic way of delivering it, gratitude. The quality and the definition is the quality of being thankful, readiness to show appreciation for and to return kindness. If we were to put it into a sentence structure, Alicia shared her gratitude to Ukrainian Toastmasters clubs for allowing her to attend the meeting and be a grammarian. The synonyms are thanks, appreciation, recognition, acknowledgement, respect, regard, credit, and indebtedness. Now, I will be looking at the word of the day, looking at all the grammar that we're using, and also as a special, I'll be doing the R counter role, which is my favorite role in Toastmasters. And I can tell you, we've already done 111 lexical and non-lexical fillers. So be warned, the world record I have is 516, and it was done about 2 weeks ago. So let's try and not do 516 tonight. Back to you, Eric.
All right, thank you very much, Alicia. My gratitude to you for putting up such a good illustration of what your role is going to be. So just last, before we get into our main meat of the meeting here, and by the way, I should mention what I'm doing through now is sort of this introduction period. We're going to have a speaker period part of the meeting where people are going to give prepared speeches, and you're going to get a chance to evaluate them on that, give them some positive feedback. Also, we're going to have a section which is table topics where you all get a chance to provide practice your English and provide some thoughts or insights that you want to provide on this. And so there'll be kind of a structure to that. And then we'll have our evaluation section of the meeting. So before we get into all that, we'll have I just want to finish up this last section here and then get on to our speakers. But one thing, again, just to highlight this theme, there are always many Independence Days, you know, that we go throughout in a history of a country and a people. And so this is just an example of some things that we've had through the United States where we kind of get a renewal. There's changes, and it's kind of a growth to this basis that we have. And I want to also say that, you know, there were some very dark times in the United States during our Civil War, for example, you know, this what I call War of Freedom for the United States. It was very close that the United States was going to totally separate and potentially dissolve, because at that time, if you were not united, as Abraham Lincoln said very famously, a country not united cannot stand. So you will have these moments, but there is a future, there is a growth. And I always want my good friends in Ukraine to recognize this is a growth process that's going in, and you will have this longer term view of the future. So with that said, let's get on to our main speaking section of the day. Our first speaker of the day is from ArtTalkers visiting us, Tetiana Kiforishina, going to give us a speech titled Close. Tatiana, please, the floor is yours.
Hello, dear audience. Today, I have a simply philosophical question. What is close for you? Let's think about, is this a secret weapon to make your boss look at you another eyes because your boss think that no jeans you have to wear at work? Maybe this is a something to make your friends think of you like you are the one who belong to them because you're wearing the same old jeans. So what is clothes for you? As I noticed, we had a coronavirus days in our previous year, and one friend just told me, you know, how can I manage to do my working days while I'm sitting home in my pajama and drinking coffee? I just do next. I put on my suit from my job, at least a jacket. I'm sitting over my table, and you know what? I have a wonderful mood. I have a mood to work because my jacket helps me in that. And the next thing I would tell you, like all we were in the university, and while we have a marketing classes, it was wonderful story which I remember for many years. It was about a job, and two students, two men, they were eager to get a job to be a waiter. It was very big company, and there are a lot of people who wanted to have this position, but they wanted this position more. And you know what they did? They put on the costumes, which were waiters from that company, and they came to their such a interesting talk with their future boss in these costumes. And you know what? They were just took they were taken of that positions as the waiters. So it's very important how you look while talking to your future boss, while talking to your even the previous boss, and while talking with your colleagues and friends. But no one understands it while it touches him directly. For example, if we are talking about women, and I would say, if you like to wear old jeans, for example, as I do, but you feel in your heart, deeply in your heart or deeply in your mind that you are a princess, and for example, you want to attract to your side people who are as the same personality as you should mind that people who are inside, who think of themselves like they are Mr. Prince or a king, they were not seen, they will not see you in your old clothes, in your old, for example, jeans, and in your old, like many in your old clothes. So maybe you should put on a dress to make a right impression of you, and also to feel something else, for example, which will awake your spirit and gain, which would give you many other results. So you should spend your time with clothes wisely, because what have on you, people will judge the first thing when they see you. Until you open your mouth and share your secrets or maybe thoughts with other people, they will not see your minds, they will only see your clothes. And for example, if you want to combine or if you want to change something in your life, you can just take first steps. First step is to have another haircut, and second step is to have another dress or maybe the costume, because for every one of us, what we have on us, this is a partly of declaration, and it's better for us to make other people see the real of us instead of they see on us another personality. So I would like that all we wear what we really like and what we really feel inside, in case other people just to see the real of us. And also they would be our friends or even rivals, and it is also interesting, but they would all see our real personalities, which would be combined with how we look. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Tatiana. So we have a link posted in the chat. You can click on this and give some feedback to Tatiana on her speech. And we can give 1 minute for this. So timer, could you give us 1 minute for completing this? Thanks. All right, the minute is up. Let's move on to our next speaker. This is a member of DniproHills, good friend of ours, Oleksandr Myronchuk, and he's going to give his talk, Why Did I Choose Persuasive Influence Pathways? So, and this is his Persuasive Influence Pathways Icebreaker speech as well. So please welcome Oleksandr, sorry, to the stage.
Thank you. I am Oleksandr, and I decided to learn Persuasive Influence pathway. Persuasion can be described by the following definition. Persuasion skills, in a simple words, is the ability to make intentional and successful efforts in influencing someone, either through writing or verbal communication. Simply put, persuasion skills refers to the skills of changing or influence behaviors, belief, or attitude of someone or a group towards another idea, person, or event. The art of persuasive usually involves reasoning, sharing feelings, and clearly conveying information. If we look at the history of the study of persuasion, this history begins 2,500 years ago, and even earlier. The academic study of persuasion began with the Greeks, who emphasized rhetoric and elocution at the highest standard for a successful politician. Probably the words charisma and rhetoric invoke many associations with Aristotle. Aristotle lived at the time when the culture of Greek city-state. He was one of the greatest encyclopedists known to mankind. He laid the foundation of biology, physics, ethics, logic, psychology, sociology. It's quite a long list of science he was engaged in. Aristotle devoted an entire book to rhetoric, which describes the main method of persuasive communication. In short, there are three of them. Ethos, or credibility, refers to the effort to convince your audience of your credibility or character. Logos, or reason, refers to the effort to convince your audience by using logic and reason. Pathos, or emotion, refers to the effort to persuade your audience by making appeal to their feelings. Going back from the historical times to the present, we can say that persuasion is used almost all spheres of life, public, professional, and even personal life. Like, have you ever to convince your friend visit a place you like, convince a chief to say yes to some request, or listening salesman at the mall and getting convinced? Briefly, how is not persuasive. Sometimes when people hear the word persuasive, they think that it's mad science and think, finally, I can get the word to do my bidding. Do not confuse persuasive with the manipulation. Individuals' free will and free choice are intact in persuasion. They are able to make informed decisions as to if they comply with the persuasive messages or not, while manipulation is the exercise of harmful influence over others. Persuasive is not a message for inspiration or motivational speech. With this, if person already agree with you, in this case, persuasion is not possible because the listener already agree with you. Persuasive message must change the mind of listener. Every conversation should have a change that the listener will change his or her opinion at least a little. Persuasion helps build the skills of innovation communicator and leader. It is the knowledge of how to negotiate a positive outcome together with building strong interpersonal communication and public speaking skills. I hope that speech was convincing that persuasion is an important skill. Thank you. I give the stage for Eric.
Thank you, Alexander. You made a persuasive argument for us to be interested in the persuasion pathway there. I hope everybody will take a look at it. So why don't we give Alexander some feedback? The link for Alex is in the chat. And again, 1 minute timer, please, to provide this feedback. Okay, that's it for the 1 minute over there. So we got a few more minutes before we start with our main workshop speaker of the day. But let me just ask, how many here live in a country that celebrates a Declaration of Independence Day or a Constitution Day? Either raise your hand if you're on camera or give a reaction or something like that, just so that I can see who celebrates that. Alicia, why isn't your hand up? You're in Ukraine, you celebrate Constitution Day. I didn't say. All right, and for those that don't, is that something, do you have something different that you celebrate also? Or is it something that you would like to see, to have something like this in your country? Because I statistically, I never really looked at it. I would say most countries do have it, but I wasn't aware of any ones that don't. So for those that didn't, weren't saying yes, and that would they like to have something like this if they don't already? Or thinking about it. Maybe I'll give a good persuasion about why it's important a little later too. So let's get on with our main speaker of the day. This is our
Trudy and Wolf, they raised hand.
Who?
Trudy and Wolf, no?
Okay, Trudy and Wolf.
Hi.
Where are you from?
We live just south of London in England, and I was thinking about your words, Eric. In England, we don't have an Independence Day or anything like that. To be honest, we're quite apathetic about celebrating such things, but I think here it would be great if we had a day which was a multicultural day, where we have so many cultures, especially where we live near London, where we all came together and celebrated that and celebrated our common ground instead of arguing about our differences. That was my thoughts. Thank you.
Oh, very interesting. Thanks for offering that up. Very good feedback. I think if we all kind of thought about that more, that would be a good thing, right? to kind of come to the table and share what we have in common. So good feedback. All right, so anyone else? Okay, so let's get on with our main workshop speaker today. This is our from the, I'm assuming you are from Division 71 Director Paul O'Mahony. I don't know you, Paul, but I'm assuming you're in Ireland based on your name. Is this true? Okay, all right. So from the great nation of Ireland here, please welcome Paul O'Mahony to give us all some feedback on doing our icebreaker speech. So if some of you have not done that yet, hopefully we'll get some insights on what we should be looking at in preparing for that. Paul, the stage is yours.
Well, I'm full of gratitude for that introduction. Let me ask you all, how do you have a social media account of any sort on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok? May I please see you raise your hand if you have such an account of any sort? Okay, I see a goodly number of you. Can I ask those of you who are present at the workshop then, if you'd mind turning on your screen, unless you don't want to be recorded, because this is an interactive workshop to a certain extent, which will last for 20 minutes. And if you're present at the meeting, I'd like to be able to interact with you. My name is Paul O'Mahony. My name is pronounced the same way as the country of Oman is, so you may be inclined to think that I am from Oman. The Omanis are also not related to the Italian family of the Armanis. The Armanis are a different branch. Some of you may have some Armani products, but I come from a family whose grandfather set up a bookshop on the main street of the city of Limerick, where I was born, in 1902. I am a gin drinker and taster. I'm a dog walker, a podcaster, a Toastmaster, a business consultant, an opera lover. You might even say an opera fanatic. Did I say I'm a podcaster as well? And the reason I've come here today, and what I would like you to do for me in this club, is to listen and keep some notes and reflect on how many times you have introduced yourself to a stranger in the last 2 weeks, at a bus stop, in a bar, at a dinner party. How many times? Would you put in the chat, in the last 2 weeks, how many people have you introduced yourself to? The introduction may have been very brief. It may have been nothing other than your name. Or it may have been longer. You may have told people something about you that you consider to be important. What is the most important thing to do when you're introducing yourself to other people? And when you're introducing yourself at a Toastmasters meeting? What's the most attractive, the thing that will really attract your attention, most of all, if you've given people that information? So your future relationship will be highly influenced by this piece of information. What do you think the most important information about yourself is? I see Eric smiling.
Your name?
No, I'm not asking you to speak. I'm
Okay.
just saying I see you smile. That told me that Eric had done some thinking. He had come to his own conclusion, and he found it quite a good topic. The most important thing about you is your name, isn't it? Your name. That's why I started by telling you my name. And secondly, it's about how it's pronounced. I'm going to both clubs, well, to the three clubs and to all of you. Thank you ever so much. I'm so full of gratitude for the invitation to come to this meeting today. And there's my number one tip. You might like to write it down. The very first thing for you to do when you introduce yourself to other people, and of course, an icebreaker in Toastmasters is introducing yourself to other people. And there will almost certainly be a person in the room who has never met you before. So when Alex, if that was the correct pronunciation, Alex was introducing himself, there was an opportunity to cover who I am, how you pronounce my name. I asked you if you have a social media account, and there was a sort of little scheme behind that. Those of you who have a social media account, please put up your hands again. Okay. Your profile. Do you remember the opportunity you had to put a profile on your social media account? Perhaps like me, when you started using social media, on every one of the accounts, you put a different profile. That was just because at the time you were schizophrenic and you couldn't figure out what was your real profile. So you put a different one in each place, perhaps in the attention, intending to attract certain kind of people to your Facebook and a different type of people to your LinkedIn or to your Twitter account. What would you do if you were coming to a Toastmasters meeting or a dinner party, and what you wanted to do was to introduce yourself, tell people something interesting about yourself? Wouldn't you pick something from your social media profile? Wouldn't you pick so that you didn't have to think, oh my goodness, what will I say to people? You just pull out your social media profile, any one at all, and you say, right, this one says that I'm this, that, and the other. I have some advice for you. Second piece of tips. After you've said your name, tell people where you're living. Tell people where you are. This is my office. That's why I revealed it, because the background that you have online is another way of introducing yourself. It speaks for itself, doesn't it? And if you're doing your icebreaker, a tip I'll give you is don't have it blank, because it's a missed opportunity. Or else use a prop during your icebreaker. Now, I've told you I'm a gin drinker. I'm also, thank you, Eric, I'm also a water drinker. And when I'm speaking at Toastmasters, I need water, because the very first time I ever did an icebreaker at Toastmasters, I dried up. I'm a really experienced speaker before I came to Toastmasters, but I dried up. My mouth went dry. I don't know if it's ever happened to you. If you've ever tried to swallow a teaspoon of cinnamon, you will know what I mean. You cannot voice any words when your mouth is dry. It was a crisis. Never happened to me before in my professional life that I was about to dry up. So what did I do? I was on stage in front of people, if you like. Well, I went and I grabbed the president's half-drunk glass of water. It was a crisis, needs must. So that's my icebreaker. I'm now entitled, if I can get a little bit of an evaluator privately after the meeting, to get credit in the Toastmaster education program, aren't I? Done my icebreaker, get an evaluation of it. Bang. I remember when I joined Toastmaster in 2015, I was horrified by one thing. In the early days in Toastmasters, I met people who'd been in Toastmasters for a long time. And I remember John Murphy saying to me, Paul, don't rush into your icebreaker. It took me 8 months to do my icebreaker. It'll be all right. And then Joan Higgins, another member, actually in a different club, said to me she'd been 2 years before she did her icebreaker. This has played on my mind ever since. And I only got total clarity on this question during the last year when I was Vice President for Education in Blarney Club in Cork. And I decided that the title of every new member who came into the club, the title of their icebreaker, wasn't going to be under their control. I had the agenda. So I would put them in for a speech called Introducing Myself. That was all, introducing myself. And secondly, if they joined the club 1 week, at the next meeting, they did their icebreaker. Because they had to tell people who they were. You wouldn't go to a dinner party, you wouldn't go to meet people in a pub and not tell people who you are. And everyone in the meeting can tell people when they come to Toastmaster wants to know, who are you? There's a good chance they haven't a clue about you, although I am a member of a club which sends a person who applies for membership a questionnaire in which they ask them some interesting questions about themselves. And that's sent around to all the members so that the members can vote on whether to accept the person as a member or not. But at least that's a kind of an icebreaker. But no, I do it, and I'm persuaded that this is the best way to do it. Icebreakers are done straight away. In the icebreaker, your name, how to pronounce it, where you live. I mean, if you've grown up in New York and you've recently moved to Ukraine, probably a good idea to tell them I spent most of my life in New York, wouldn't it? You want to tell them what job you do. I was in club for 2 years and I didn't know half the members' jobs. I mean, you go out and you sit and have a cup of coffee with somebody, you're likely to say, by the way, where do you work? And I want to know, are you a bricklayer? Are you a company CEO? Don't you? You want to know that? Also, I'd like to know something about you. What are you really interested in? I don't want to pry into your family background. I don't need to know, whether you've got children but I am interested in whether you have a dog. I'm interested to know something maybe where you'd like to go on your holiday. And there's one final thing. So there's your name, your location, your job, what you're interested in. There's 4 things. One more thing. You've joined a club or you're starting a path. What would you like from the people in the room? What kind of support and help would you like? So today I'm here to tell you I've just joined the club. As you know, And you know what? One of my big goals in Toastmasters is to achieve this. I'll give you a little extreme example. I've just joined Toastmasters, never been in before. I've heard from somebody else that you have a really good award called Distinguished Toastmaster. I haven't a clue what it is, but I'd like you to help me get that award, because that would really help me in my job or help me in my whatever. So your goal, one of your goals, the thing you want people to help you with most. Isn't that a very simple structure? Can I just ask, Hassan, I was really interested in you coming along today. Can you unmute yourself, please? I'd love you to just tell me a bit more about yourself. I know you come from, did you say Iran, but can you just give me a bit of an idea about, you know, what we've just been talking about yourself?
Yes, of course. I'm a master in marketing, and my job career is likely the same as to you, a business consultant, and my profession is digital marketing and help business to improve their value to their customers. And on the other hand, I'm from Iran, from in the Middle East, and so you know, I'm trying to learn English and use it new words in my own speaking and writing, and would be more fluent to work for international companies.
And
my interesting things, you know, if you want to know my interesting activities, this is just reading books besides watching movies or hanging out with my friends.
Can you give him a huge applause? What a really interesting person Hassan is.
Thank you.
That's terrific. Look, I wanted to ask Anna. Anna, look, you've listened to that. Where are you? I can see you there. Yeah, can you unmute yourself just for a second? Look, I don't know you at all. I don't think we've ever met before. Can you just tell me a bit about yourself?
Well, my name is Anna. Yes, you know, it's an international name. It's very widespread. I live in Kiev, and I didn't leave my home city during the war, so you can assess my stress resilience. I work as finance manager. I have a dog, a small dachshund. I like reading books. I like socializing with people. I like learning English, and that's why I come to Toastmasters every Saturday and Sunday online. Thank you.
Will you please applaud her? Can you just give her a huge applause? I mean, what two fantastic people. Hassan, look, I know so much more about you now. And I know so much more. By the way, I have an English setter. That's another story. We can talk dogs over coffee on another occasion. Now, here's something that's just happened. Haven't you just heard two people do their icebreaker? Haven't you heard two icebreakers? I'd like to see people nodding, because even if you don't realize it, you have heard two icebreakers. Both of them are entitled to credit in the Toastmasters education program. All they have to do is receive somebody here who volunteers in the chat privately to give them an evaluation after the meeting. And they've got credit, they've done it. And they didn't even think they were giving a speech. Did you think you were giving a speech, Anna? Did you think you were giving a speech, Hassan? Did you think you were doing your icebreaker and getting educational credit? Probably not. And you see, that is the fact that, for example, Anna didn't go on for 4 minutes, don't hold that against her. Never is held against anyone in Toastmasters. She can stand up and say about 4 things about herself, sit down after 90 seconds, and she's entitled to credit, isn't she? And there's my point today, the main one I'm bringing to you. How important it is to be able to introduce yourself to people. How frequently you do it anyway. And how good it is for the leaders in the club to arrange for people to do their icebreaker, either as an impromptu speech or as a prepared speech, because there's nothing in the rules of the education program that says you have to have written down a 4 to 6 minute speech. There's nothing in the rules. Toastmasters is all about practicing, isn't it? Practicing your communication skills in order to be more effective in society. I leave you with a thought or a recommendation. Introduce yourself to people at Toastmasters clubs. Practice doing it. You'll need that practice. There's so many different ways of doing it. So do your icebreaker. But to club leaders, especially vice presidents of education, I say this. Do not wait till somebody volunteers to do their icebreaker. Just assume that it is your job to give them a chance to introduce yourself, and that it is their responsibility to actually do it. Otherwise, they might not be so welcome in the room, and certainly their chances of giving other people a chance to fulfill their Toastmasters promise. And Toastmasters have promised to support each other, not just to attend and listen to speeches. I leave you with that. Ice-breaking moments. Make it happen for everybody. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Paul, for all that great feedback and about the basics of what we should all be able to do. And I do apologize on your name. I learned one of the good facts I learned, we learned how to pronounce people's names over there. So I apologize. I didn't know the origins of yours. I've known Mahoney's. We used to call them Mahoney's back in the United States, but I didn't know the pronunciation of yours. So thank you for that etymology of your name. All right, why don't we give Paul some feedback too on his great information, and the link is in the chat. And timer, could you give us 1 minute, please? All right, and that's our time for now. And we're on to our next section of the meeting today, which is where you get a chance to give your own little mini speeches here and get some feedback on them as well from a lot of the professional Toastmasters in the group. And you're encouraged to do so. And we have a great topic master, table topic master of the day, Anastasia Babakina, and please introduce yourself and give us the rules on the talk today, please.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for the introduction, Eric. So I'm Anastasia. I'm from Ukraine, ArtTalkers Club. And before the war, I enjoyed very much our offline meetings, but now I had to move. So I am really grateful for this opportunity to join online meetings. It helps me seeing people from my club, getting to see people from other clubs with all the variety of, I don't know, club traditions, etc. So really glad to be here. So today the topic was is the Independence Day, and it's really a wide one because even though we talked about it like celebration, a holiday, the topic of independence is really broad one. And if we look at it at different levels, like personal one, it's really deep one to talk about. And that's why I was so excited to become table topic master for today's meeting. And these impromptu speeches that we are now about to start are to last not more than 2 minutes each. And for this purpose, we have our timer today who will demonstrate cards depending on the time you use. So when you reach 1 minute talking, it will be green card. When it's 1 minute 30 seconds, it will be yellow card, and when you reach 2 minutes, it will be red card. It doesn't mean that you need to stop your speech abruptly, but it's just a sign for you to wrap up your speech. And please remember about the structure of your speeches. Even though small impromptu, they have to have beginning, like involvement, and we all strive to hear your conclusion. Some line that we will remember after you stop talking, and something to think about after the meeting. That's what I personally appreciate in impromptu speeches when hearing various opinions. So please remember to follow, to keep the structure. And again, that was all about rules of impromptu speeches round. So now I guess we are ready to start. And for your convenience, I guess we start with a simple one question, which is basically about the Independence Day. How do you normally celebrate it? Are there any particular traditions in your country or your family that you follow? And for this question, I'd like really to hear at least 2 people from various countries. Well, of course, from Ukraine, because there are so many of us here, and from some other country. So I'm looking for volunteers so that we all learn how the Independence Day is celebrated in your country, your family. Anyone? Raise your hand. Well, Eric, let's start with you. Thanks for volunteering.
Okay, well, I guess it's sort of a continuation of my Toastmaster duty here. I'll do a little follow-on speech to what I actually do. In the United States, we have a day off from work for the July 4th. So that would be on Monday. But usually a lot of people were also off on Friday. We love it when it's on the weekend because people take a longer weekend too. It's usually a 4-day. They take the Friday off before. So everybody loves it when it's on Monday. So a lot of how it's celebrated, there are some common themes and there are some individual themes based on the geography of where you're in. The common themes are that fireworks are usually a part of it. All of the cities and towns usually allocate a certain amount of budget for a fireworks celebration. So it goes back a long time in the history to do that. And also traditional foods And in America, it's a hot dog and a hamburger, usually. Easy traditional foods is what I mean. You don't want to spend too much time in your preparation work. You want to be celebrating for the most part. And then the geographical aspect, where I came from, I live near the coast of the Atlantic Ocean. So a lot of the 4th of Julys are spent at the beach. So we'd go to the beach, and then the beach would have a huge fireworks display in the evening as well. So that was a time when you didn't mind the crowds, right? Usually you don't want to be with so many crowds of that, but 4th of July is like one of those periods you want to be with all the people that are celebrating the exact same thing as you. So in a way, it's like a huge birthday party where everybody is born on the same day and you're celebrating together. So that's what kind of makes it a nice event. So that's how I celebrate mostly, and how we do it in the US. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. And the great metaphor about like everyone's birthday. It's really interesting one to think about how you formulate it. Thanks. So that was inside of celebration of the Independence Day in the US. What about Ukrainians? Are there any Ukrainians willing to share their experience? Okay, first we have Uniati, Singapore, really interesting. Please speak up.
Hello, fellow Toastmasters. I'm so grateful. I want to express my gratitude that you invite me. I'm Indonesian. My name Yuniati. You can call me Uni or Ati. But I staying in Singapore. My Independence Day of Indonesia will be on August. What interesting about our Independence Day was we celebrated with a lot of games. Like children, they have game eating food or running or prick the balloon with the eyes blindfolded. It was very fun. And also game for a family, like husband carrying their wife in the back and running. It's so fun. And we also celebrating by a lot of dinners, like in the community, we gathering, we cook our traditional food and we eating. So it's really a festive and we enjoying it so much. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Sorry, I was saying thank you very much, Uni, for sharing. It's really interesting to know a variety of kinds of celebrations. And in the chat, I can see that Natalia Perbocha from Ukraine is ready to answer this question. So we now will listen to celebrating the Independence Day in Ukraine. Natalia?
Yes, I'm from Ukraine indeed, and I have a personal experience of celebrating even 2 state holidays, really meaningful state holidays in Ukraine. These are the Independence Day and also the Constitution Day we had a few days ago. And I have my own experience because I met all those 2 events because I was listening to the radio at that very moment when they happened, when they took place. When I was 12, I was listening to the radio at my grandmother's village in the Chernihiv region. And I remember that really amazing moment, really breathtaking moment when the Act of Independence of Ukraine had been signed. And the next time in 1996, I was at my mother's work and I was working place and I was listening to the radio. And I remember when the Ukrainian parliament was really in use by signing the constitution. So I remember all those moments. However, despite having heard all those events on the radio, I have my own experience and my own events on those days. Because 28th of June is also my grandmother's birthday. So, or every time someone congratulates me on and greets me on this day, I says, it's just my grandmother's birthday, but thank you so much. And each time someone greets me and congratulates me on the Independence Day, I'm saying that we are now fighting for our independence. So every one of us has not only a connection to all those days, to those both days, just because we are the Ukrainians, but also we have our personal connection to that. And I hope many of us and the entire world as well will contribute to win in this war and to have your own small connection, your own small devotion to this win. So I would like everyone to contribute to it and be proud in the future to be the part of the huge event.
Thank you very much for your answer, for sharing your personal experience. That was really interesting. Anyone else to share? No, as I see, right? Then we can move to the next question. For which one I would also like to cite one person, basically John Lennon, who said, at least it is attributed to him, that tame birds sing freedom and wild birds fly. Nice metaphor for acknowledging people who by their actions actually bring freedom, bring independence to countries, or bring personal independence. So actions over words. Who is that wild bird who inspires you? Are there any activists or leaders who did something real, something that confirmed their willingness to independence or freedom, and you see them as example? Yeah, that's a question to think about, but are there any persons who inspire you in terms of bringing independence or freedom to people, countries, or themselves? Anyone?
You might like to pick somebody.
Sorry?
You might like to pick an individual. Everybody wants to let somebody else do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just wanted to see if there are any volunteers. Okay, if no, then maybe I can ask I don't know whom to ask. Maybe Vera Oleneva can share. Any person who inspires you in terms of fighting for independence, freedom.
Good afternoon to everyone. I'm sorry for not switching on the camera for now. I'm still on my way home, but I couldn't miss the wonderful opportunity to listen to the amazing speeches. Therefore, I have a chance to talk right now, but without the camera. And as for the question, so who inspires me in terms of fighting for the independence? You know, we're living, we Ukrainian, I mean, are living in a difficult time right now. We are basically at war. Therefore, the answer for your question is quite simple. Every Ukrainian person is motivating and inspiring me for fighting for our independence. Every person who is involved in the war right now who is fighting for our country, every volunteer, every person who is just working and supporting the economics, every person who is able to find a kind of word for a neighbor, for a sister, for a brother, for a family member, for a friend. So basically, every person is doing something for our country right now. And therefore, every Ukrainian person is inspiring me to continue what we're doing, to hold on, to keep up and to fight for our independence. Every Ukrainian is an inspiration for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Vera. It's really so, and I guess we, all Ukrainians present here, feel the same. And you've probably seen the reactions. Indeed, this is touching, and I guess it doesn't need any comment because it's all in the news, acts of people's bravery and compassion and just humanity. So indeed, this is something that we need to remember that. And Vera, actually, point is that we each other inspire each other. Sorry, I mean, so just when acting in your everyday normal life, remember that you are at the same time representative of your nation, and that we need to keep up this image of brave nation, of a nation that fights for their independence, and each individual contributes to this. We inspire each other, and in this is our unity. Thank you. I guess we now can move to the next question, which will be a shift to another level of independence, namely personal independence. So the question would be quite philosophical. How do you identify personal independence, and what does it involve? Which aspects? Personal independence for you. What does it mean? Again, any volunteers? Okay, yes, Trudy and Wolf, please speak up.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay. I'm German who lives in the UK. And of course, we're talking about independence. Now, as such, we don't have independence in Germany. But when the Berlin Wall was pulled down, it gave a lot of freedom and independence to the rest of Germany. And because of that, the Germans these days are very much in sympathy with the Ukrainians. We've been through a lot. Okay, we had difficulties in the last war, but we understand what the Ukrainians are going through at the moment. And we can only hope that we can be in some small ways of help to them, and wish them all success for the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else to share their thoughts about independence and what it involves?
Can I ask?
Yes, our grammarian, Alicia, please.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster. I think of independence and I look at my own country, Australia. We're one of the most multicultural countries on the planet. And I want to talk to you about Eddie Mabo. Has anyone heard of Eddie Mabo here? Not a single person. This man is an Indigenous Australian. So we have two Indigenous populations here. We have the Aboriginals and also the Torres Strait Islanders. The Aboriginals are actually on the mainland and the Torres Strait Islanders are up the top. So you've got that pointy bit up the top and there's 5 islands that make up the Torres Strait Islanders. Now, Eddie Mabo fought for independence for the Aboriginal and the Torres Strait Islanders. He campaigned religiously for the Indigenous lands rights here in Australia. And due to him, in the 1950s and 1960s, he was able to help Aboriginals and also Torres Strait Islanders be recognised as independents and also be recognised as the native Indigenous people here in Australia. And I, as an Australian, am so proud that we were able to break that in the 1960s, 1970s, and then 1993, the Native Title Act actually recognised them. Did you know in 1967, yes, it was up until 1967, Aboriginals and Torres Strait Islanders were considered animals, fauna here in Australia. A lot of people don't realise that. And it is absolutely disgusting what my people here in Australia who are native and Indigenous to my country had to go through and fight through. If it wasn't for someone who was so independent thinking like Eddie Mabo, we would never have been able to have seen or bridge that gap that we have today. Today, Aboriginal people and Torres Strait Islanders are now recognised as independent people. They have native title to Australia. They are part of our constitution. They are recognised, and we absolutely love and endear them. They are actually considered the most ancient culture on the planet. 40,000 years they have actually lived here in Australia, and that culture still lives today. And that is why I'm so proud to be an Australian and have that independence that we have been able to achieve, and to break the gap and to close the gap between us and those people who are considered native fauna, but no longer, but they are independent and they are truly part of our wonderful country, Australia. Back to you.
Thank you very much for sharing this insight. Really interesting, and what I appreciate this club for, to hear various facts that I would not dig on the internet or wherever. Thanks for sharing. Then we move to the next question, which will be about such aspect of independence as ability to make independent decisions, basically to change your life and move on your own. So the question would be quite personal. What was the most important decision in your life, and how did it change your life, decision that you made? Any volunteers? Okay, then we maybe ask Volodymyr Ukrainets to share.
Sorry, please, can you repeat the question? Because I have...
Yeah, what was the most important decision that you made, and how did it change your life?
Well, what was the most important decision? Of course, one of my most important decisions is to be a member of Toastmasters Club. It's, of course, how it changed my life. I've told you one story. It all began many years ago, just 1 year after I became a member of Toastmasters Club in fantasy elections. I played here the role of the Dark Lord Sauron, and soon after that, it changed my life. I was invited by 2 members of ArtTalkers Club to their club, and by the way, now I'm organizer of more than 1 meeting, and even once I was a Toastmaster of the meeting, and that was therefore I changed my life thanks to this. And I always want to say to you, it was never late to change your life, because one Soviet actor changed his life in 16 years thanks to one role. He was not popular. He was not famous. He played only some sort of episode roles. But at the age of 16, he has a suggestion to play the role of bad guy, and this role made him very popular and made him famous. And I want to tell you, it was never late, and it does not matter how old are you. It may be 60, maybe 70. It does not matter. The main thing you need to have is your own wish, your courage, and of course, not to be lazy, and everything will be okay, and you will change your life. Thank you for your attention.
And thank you very much. First of all, nice to hear how during the club may change one's life, and it's really positive to hear about your increased activity. And again, thank you for drawing a conclusion and a statement for us to think about changing our lives, no matter what age you are, how old you are, sorry. For the next question, I'd like you to raise your hands, those who are married or are in a relationship. Okay, so there should be definitely someone to answer the next question. So it is said that a relationship is a union of two independent individuals, wholesome persons. But at the same time, relationship is about compromising. You know that. So do you think that compromising means reducing one's personal independence to make it work? What is your opinion on that? I know we have experts in that. So anyone who raised their hands, please share your opinion, whether you need to reduce your personal independence in order to make your relationship work.
I think Marty has her hand raised.
Can see, 1 minute. Yeah, Marty, please. Speak up. We are ready to listen to you.
Thank you very much for an extremely interesting topic, one which I feel qualified to respond to. In my life of 72 years, I have been married 53 of those years. Let me make sure I get my calculations right. And it was just 2 years ago that my husband passed away. So what did it take to be married that long? Well, compromise was certainly part of it, but it was learning to grow together and to allow each other to grow, to help each other be the very best person they could be. Because with that opportunity,
we can't hear you. Please unmute yourself, Marty. Marty, sorry, we can't hear you. Maybe Zoom Master, can you unmute Marty?
I'm trying, but it still didn't work.
so I hope I'm still communicating to everyone.
Yeah, now we can hear you. Please repeat.
Okay.
Mhm.
From where, ma'am?
Growing up together, I guess.
Oh, yes. Growing up together, being married for that length of time, we got to see each other grow and expand because we gave each other that room. So compromise and working together for the best interest of each other and the best interest for the two of us allowed us to go through those 5 decades and influence our children, influence those around us. And it was just a short time ago that my husband passed away. So I was going to speak to the concept of new relationships. In new relationships, there definitely is a give and take, and it takes time. So all of this is part of learning who you are and learning who someone else is. And the joy of communication makes it so much better. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Beautiful speech with a conclusion, and thanks for sharing your thoughts and perspective a lot. Thank you very much, dear members. That was it. I guess now we can close our round of impromptu speeches and switch to evaluation part. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you very much, Anastasia. And we have our voting form up here where you pick who you believe is the best speaker of the day, and then that'll be announced when we do the evaluation. So if we could have a minute on the clock, please, for people to finish this. Oh, actually, maybe we should also just repeat all the speakers here. If you can, people remember that. If you could raise your hand when put your voice so everybody remembers. I'm Eric. I gave the first one. Yunyati. Can you raise your hand? Which? Yep, there we go. Then there was Natalie Parabocha. Natalie, raise your hand. Vera, Oliviana, please raise your hand. Then Wolf. Then Alicia. Then Vova. And Marty. Right? Okay. So go ahead and finish your voting. Think we should be close to finished almost. There it is. I knew it was coming there in the last few seconds. All right. Thank you very much for participating and voting. So now we get to the part of our meeting today where the speakers today get some feedback from established Toastmasters and give them some feedback on what they liked and what they didn't about the speech. And first up, we have evaluating Tetiana's speech from Best Odesa speakers. Sergey, I hope I get your last name. Golovatyuk? Yes, all right, please, the floor is yours.
Hey, thank you, Eric. I'm Sergey Golovatyuk. I'm from Odesa Speakers Club. And my unusual task today is to evaluate Tatiana's speech, because Tatiana's task for me was evaluate her as international speech contest participant, and I used special ballot for this. This unusual for me, so it's a very interesting experience for me. The same, Tatiana used very interesting and engaging topic about clothes, but as for me, except her beautiful pink hat, we can see her clothes at all. So the pose of speaker very important. If you can see my shot, you can put your camera far from her body, and this position can help you use gestures and make more alive on this scene. So one advice is use more useful position far from camera. Tatiana is very confident and use very confident eye contact. Her speech was very structured, and she used a lot of examples, steps. So conclusion was beautiful, different parts, and maybe except pauses between parts was excellent. As for me, I need some more playing of voice, some pace, some pauses, some more that enthusiasm and actually skills maybe. Her stories about somebody was very interesting, but for me, I need some more stories about Tatiana, personal stories. And as for me, I feel as Tatiana a very confident presentation of her speech, but it feel she used some notes, and it's not was as presentation. It's as it's feel for me. It's feel more as reading, or maybe it's my mistake, but it's not a live presentation. So for me, it's much more important than we use as word, but more live manner. So I very appreciate and feel gratitude to Tatiana for such interesting experience. Her speech was very clear. Her voice was very loud and was very good choice of words. And I wish Tatiana to take a lot of awards during international content and at least first 3 places. So wish all the best for Tatiana and for all of you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergey. And now to give Alexander some feedback, we have another visitor from ArtTalkers, Natalia Balyuk. Please, Natalia.
Thank you, Eric. Hi, everyone. First, I would like to give a big gratitude to Oleksandr for his wonderful speech. I think it's a wonderful example of how to start the pathway and do the icebreaker if you're not a newcomer to Toastmaster. Actually, Oleksandr was given a lot of speeches before, and we even heard his wonderful speech during the international contest just recently in February. So I would say that Oleksandr is not a newcomer, but he did start the new pathway, so the icebreaker is here. And he decided to do this icebreaker in an interesting way to explain why he actually chose this persuasive influence. For me, as a person who also did the same pathway, I was really intrigued by the name. So why did I choose persuasive influence pathway? And then I got a lot of information about what is actually to be persuasive, what is influence, how actually it was done in history, and what actually it means for Oleksandr. So I would like to say that there are really some points of great speech there that Oleksandr made. First, there was a structure. We would hear the opening, asking the question to himself, and then started answering why this specific pathway is interesting to Oleksandr. Then in the body of the speech, we would hear like a lot of points regarding the knowledge, the words, Aristotle's words. Then there was a big block talking about that persuasive doesn't mean it's manipulative. So a lot of things and a lot of use on the same words that actually were used in the name of the pathway. I would say that the structure was really great, and we even heard a small conclusion, but at the same time, I would say that I would expect more conclusions and more words at the end. What I would like Oleksandr to challenge himself with. First, we are speaking online today, so it's really important that the audience see not only your face, but maybe some of your body language. So please, next time, try to place your camera a little bit further from you, so we also see some body movements or hand gestures or something else except for the face. Also, it seems to be that you were reading parts of the speech, or at least I thought so, especially at the beginning. There were a lot of things and a lot of context from the history regarding the persuasive, to be persuasive, about the influence. So probably if you try to structure a speech in the way that you remember the key points, then you will not be able to, you will not have to actually use the notes and refer to some notes on the screen. And probably the last thing that I would like to say that, Oleksandr, I know that you uses your pauses usually in the speech greatly. This speech was lacking some pauses, and it seems like point after the point, you were speaking about important and interesting topic for yourself, but it was really hard to follow. So if you use more pauses in your speech in the future, I think it will be even more and more powerful. Overall, I would say that the speech was really interesting. I was super excited to hear actually what would be the speech after the pathway. So I hope that Oleksandr will keep moving with his speeches for along this pathway one by one. And in some, I don't know, half a year, we will hear another speech saying what I did learn from these pathways. Thank you a lot, and a great gratitude to you for the speech.
Thank you, Natalia. Appreciate it. And then next up, we have another ArtTalkers guest today, Anna Martinovna, who gives us some feedback to all of those that participated in table topics today. So Anna, please.
First of all, I would like to share my gratitude to Table Topics Toastmaster, Anastasia, and to all participants of this exciting table topic session. Regarding Toastmaster of the table topic session, I would like to praise Anastasia for the following. First of all, she connected the topic with the general theme of the meeting, which was independence. She filled gaps between the questions with comments on the speeches of previous speakers. She mentioned rules of the table topic session so everyone knows how to participate. One gap is that she missed to emphasize the word of the day. As to the speaker number one, Eric, who answered the question, how do you celebrate Independence Day? It was very good of you, Eric, to jump into the topic because you're a very experienced speaker, and moreover, you can tell us a lot. And Independence Day is celebrated hugely in the US. So your speech was very well structured. There was opening, body, and conclusion. And when you were talking, you touched common themes in celebration and also geographical aspects, which was very interesting for us as listeners. I also would like to share my gratitude with Yuni from Singapore, who shared with us their traditions of celebration their Independence Day, and for giving cultural insights. Now we know that you celebrate your Independence Day in August, that you have a lot of games and entertainment, that you cook and eat. And also thank you very much for using the word of the day. Natalia Porobocha was the next speaker, and I would like to share my gratitude for using personal stories. Actually, Natalia referred to two events or to two holidays, Constitution Day and Independence Day. And she shared her personal story, how he got to know about these really great events in the history of Ukraine as listening to them to the radio. And I also would like to praise Natalia for call to action at the end of her story, at the end of her speech. Because right now Ukraine is in a multiple state and we haven't the war, so every contribution to our victory is very important for us. The speaker number four was Vera Oleneva, who was answering the question, who inspired you? Vera also jumped into the topic, and actually she was caught on a fly that she was moving somewhere, but still it didn't prevent her from answering. And her answer was connected with the reality that we are having today, because every person who fights in Ukraine and who works for economy can be an example for us, that can be envisaged as a person who inspires us. And the speaker number four was Wolf Kuhn. Thank you very much for sharing your personal experience and for sharing understanding and support of Ukraine in your speech. It is very valuable for us. Alicia was the speaker number 6. he gave a lot of historical and cultural insights. And as Anastasia mentioned, we had a chance to know a lot about, during your rather short speech, but we got a chance to get to know a lot about Australian history. We have heard something about Aboriginals, but we didn't know about Eddie Mabe at all, and about his efforts in closing the gap between the culture, and about recognition of the rights of Aboriginals. That's also the reason why I love Toastmasters so much. You received a lot of information from first hand. Speaker number 6 was Volodymyr Ukrainets. He as usually shared with us his personal story about his interest in Lord of the Rings, and he also called his speech ended with a call to action as to it's never too late to change something in your life. Speaker number 7 was Marty, and I feel filled with gratitude for her answer. First of all, I would like to mention that she said at the beginning that she is qualified to answer, and that was really true. Her advice to everyone was to grow together and to allow each other to grow, I mean, between the partners, because we give each other the room for growing, and we give each other joy of communication. And I would like to say that Marty is the winner of this table topic session. So let's give her a round of applause. Thank you very much for participation.
Great, thank you, Anna. Congratulations to Marty. She had to leave a little bit earlier there, but I'm sure she appreciate that, and we'll mention it in the chat. Okay, so finishing up here too, we need to get some feedback from the technical team on how we did today. And first up, just see which one we have here on our agenda.
It's the Arcana Grammarian.
It is, okay, sorry, my screen shrunk. I have another screen in a minute there, and I don't have my glasses with me over here. Okay, so please, off to our grammarian, Alicia, give us an update, please.
Fantastic. All right, I'll start with the Arcana report. I'm unhappy to say you've actually broken the world record tonight. 515 we have done all together, and I am going to show you this, what I do. I use an Excel spreadsheet. This is the only way you guys can learn. You have to be visual learners. 65% of us are visual learners. We had 13 for Lesia, 188 for you, Eric, with that being 83 ums and 46 Rs. So I'm going to break this all up into lexical, non-lexical. 11 for Hassan. We had 124 for Anastasia, 48 for Anna. I'm just going to do the main ones. 28 for Tatiana, 23 for Oleksandr, 24 for, I think it was for Sergey, and 34 for Sergey the timer, and 10 for Natalia. When we look at the lexical and non-lexical, lexical means the use of words in the sentence structure. They are on the lexicon. They are words that we need to use in the lexicon. Non-lexical are the words that are are, and We seem to focus a lot when we're doing our sentence structures with and are and These are words that are the pregnant pause, which we fill in the gap. The non-lexical are words that we do not need in our sentence structure. And we also are using, we call it the skippy thing here in Australia. It's where you're calling the kangaroo. That's where you're hitting your tongue on the top of your roof, and that's called the tongue click. The non-lexical fillers, again, no purpose to the sentence. The lexical fillers are adjunct filler words. They can be used at the beginning, in the middle, or at the end. I've noticed when we're using the words and, we don't use the word and, it has to be a filler word. I will put this into the chat box if everyone wants to see it. I'll now showcase the use of the English language as the grammar. I think this is the most important part. And I am the master of the grammar verse tonight. We're going to look at the gems and the germs of the English language. These were the good parts I liked. They will not see your mind, but your glory by Tatiana, one of the greatest psychologists ever, Oleksandr, referring to Aristotle. Public, personal, and professional. This was the use of alliteration and triad by Oleksandr. Persuasion and manipulation. The use of alliteration with that Asian sound at the end. So persuasion and manipulation, Asian at the end of the words. Celebration of multiculturalism by Trudy. Armani versus Armani, the personification of Armani, the country, and also Armani, the brand. Then we had Gin Drinker, Dog Water, Podcaster, Toastmaster, Opera Lover, and Fanatic by Paul. I love the way he grouped his English there. The use of rhetoric. Paul was using rhetoric and he collectively stacked the rhetoric questioning tonight. Gin Drinker and a water drinker. The use of contrast by Paul. The use of metaphor by Eric. Actions over words, Anastasia. Motivating and inspiring by Vera. Every Ukrainian is an inspiration to me by Vera. I joined Toastmasters and it changed my life by Vova. And working together in the best interest of each other by Marty. Now, the germs, the parts that we really need to improve on. And they are quite a few, as you can see. Because your boss think, we need to think about how we put this into correct usage. It should be your boss may think. I noticed a few of us were using the non-lexical and lexical fillers to start off our words and sentence structures. And was the most popular, as we saw before, and so and. Lexical fillers are adjunct to the sentence structure, meaning they connect the basic English language. And I noticed and was the common one in our sentence structure today. When using dialogue, and I noticed a couple of speakers use dialogue, we should really use characterization and cadence to represent the various characters when central to the story. So give them individualist identities. Characterization is what we call that in the English language. The really and very rule. Really is an adverb, so we use it to describe the adjectives or verbs or other adverbs. Very is an adjective and it's used to describe the adjectives and adverbs, but not the verb. Adding of the article "a" and "an" always goes in front of the consonants and not the vowel sounds. So for example, a horse versus an elephant. I was noticing that a lot tonight. I work as finance manager. We need to add the article. I work as a finance manager. Sometimes it should be a plural, sometimes. The Independence Day. We need to remove the word the. Independence Day is a collective and it could be for any country. So it should be, let's discuss how your country's Independence Day is celebrated. Pronunciation of independence, the NCE at the end. It's not independent, it's independence. So that's that really strong sound at the end. The husband carrying wife. It should have been the husbands were carrying their wives. We need to use the plural here because there was more than one at this event. So there was more than one pair at this event. Now I noticed the TH sound was sounding like a Z or a Z, depending on what country you come from. Remember when we're pronouncing TH that we get our tongue, bite down. That's the TH sound in the English language. Make more alive. Tatiana can bring this speech to life. That's how I would have used that in the sentence structure. Some more plain voice. I felt that the voice was monotonous and he could have used cadence and pitch here. Really, really, very, very was quite often used as well. It should be, it was satisfying or what a superb job. Use an adjective to enhance the sentence structure. What I did learn from this pathway should have been what I have learned from this pathway. It is one because it was singular it's not a plural. There was no more than one pathway. Word of the day, gratitude. Paul 1, Uniadia 1, and Anna 4. And that's my role as your grammarian tonight and Arcana. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Alicia. First things I should have mentioned also, if I had my glasses nearby here, you are a DTM from the Standard Bearers Club, and it's clear why. I think you have a supercomputer living inside of your brain too, you know, for computing all this. I've done the grammarian role many times, and I've never been able to get as much out as you have. So I don't know, that's just, it's a fine-tuned listening to pull off something like that. And yay to me for breaking my own personal record. So great, thanks everyone. All right, and last but not least, Sergey Rychenko from Best Odesa. How did the speakers do on their time?
Yes, thank you, Eric. I put results of table topic speakers in our chat. If you see, and I can repeat. But the first I want to start to our grammarian Alicia. Alicia, your first time when you present your role is 1 minute and 35 seconds. When you give us your feedback, you have 6 minutes and 18 seconds. Also, we had today a prepared speech. We had 2 prepared speech and workshop. The Tatiana's times is 5 minutes and 18 seconds. It's a good result. Also, we had Icebreaker project. Oleksandr times is 4 minutes and 45 seconds. It's also good results. And now is the third speaker is Paul. The Paul times is 22 minutes. It's also good results. Also, we had a table topic speakers today. Eric, your time is 2 minutes. Uniati, 1 minute and 30 seconds. Natalia Parobocha, 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Vera Oleneva, 1 minute and 25 seconds. Wolf, 48 seconds. Alicia, 2 minutes and 25 seconds. Volodymyr Ukrainets, 2 minutes and 5 seconds. And Marty, 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Also, we had today an evaluation part. I start to Sergei Golovatyuk as an evaluation of the first project, Tatiana. His result is 3 minutes and 28 seconds. It's a good results. Natalia Baluk is the second evaluator. 3 minutes and 10 seconds. It's a good result. And also we had a table topic evaluator today, Anna Martinova. Her results is 6 minutes. It's very good result. Thank you, all of the audience. Eric, the floor is yours.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Sergey. So I'm going to try to stay right on the clock myself here and finish up in this last minute. So let me just finish up by saying thank you, everybody, for participating. From my side, it was a great meeting. I enjoyed everybody's feedback. I just want you to just remember these few things. Whether or not you celebrate an Independence or a Constitution Day, I think these are universal themes that you are born with a clean slate. I want you to remember that you are not encumbered by any past actions of anyone else. So you're born clean, but we do have frameworks that we live under, and whether that's this unicultural framework we celebrate together or some aspect of Freedom Declaration that we do have some elements that keep us as a unit and working together. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Licia Uchushin and to give us some closing remarks. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric, for conducting such a great meeting. As you already see, our 3 clubs working together, and I see that it's really give us a lot of benefits for this. So I just wanted to tell you about our plan next, and then invite our president to close the meeting. Of course, we already arranged our next meeting. We plan to make it on we plan to make it on July 24th, and our grateful friend from Australia, DTM Alicia Curtis, is already scheduled this as a workshop, how to spice up the meeting. It will be last near 40 minutes, and of course we will have one prepared speeches and table topic session as well. So you all are welcome, and I will put all links in a chat right now. Now, once again, thanks for joining us today, and I want to give the stage to President of Best Odesa Speaker, Sergei Radchenko, just for a few closing remarks, and then we will come to our talkers. Sergei?
Yes, thank you, Lesia. What I should to say now?
Just a close meeting from behalf of Best Odesa.
Oh, it's very good tradition. Okay, I usually I close our meeting and advise and announce some meeting in the next week. But you do an announce for your club. if you want to continue to our club, as you say today, we usually meet in the Sunday in the 1 p.m. in the Zoom, and I want to say thank you for all of us. Thank you for all of the audience, as you, Eric, as you, Anastasia, and all of the speakers today and all of the participants of table topic session, because we create some good and different atmosphere for all of the world, for all of the countries. We talk about Independence Day, we talk about personal independence, and it's a good chance to keep the peace together and create a good mood for all of the day during morning till evening. And thank you. The meeting is closed.
Thanks, Sergey. And now I wanted to turn the closing words to Vera Oleneva. She is the current president of ArtTalkers. Please, Vera.
Hi to everyone. Can you hear me well? Great. Thank you very much for this amazing meeting, truly amazing, because it wasn't the meeting of 3 Ukrainian clubs. It was a truly international meeting with a lot of guests from all over the globe. And I can't feel anything, I can't help feeling but the gratitude to every person who has joined today, who has shared their ideas, who has shared their knowledge, their experience, despite the early hours for someone, despite the difficult day perhaps, but they've joined, and I feel a real gratitude to every person who was present today at the meeting. And I would like to share a small piece of information regarding the club's meetings. So as Lesya already noticed, we are going to have an online format meetings too. The next one would be on the 24th of July. But at the same time, in parallel, we are having the live meetings, in-person meetings. So like yesterday, for instance, on Saturday, we've had a joint meeting of the DniproHills and ArtTalkers Club. And believe me, it was fantastic because, you know, we've missed so much to perform in front of the audience, to see people's reply right there, not through the camera, but live reply. We've missed so much, even, I don't know, to touch the audience. It was amazing. Therefore, if you are in Kyiv, so please join the joint meetings of the DniproHills and ArtTalkers Club, which are going to occur every Saturday on 12 a.m. Right. PM. So thank you very much for correction. I always mix that up. And we will be very happy to see you as guests, as members, or just as the speaker. And with that, I'm ready to say that from the side of the ArtTalkers, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vera. I also wanted to ask Anna Martinova, the VP Ed of ArtTalkers, for the closing words, because usually Anna works hard in scheduling agenda, and I can't miss the opportunity to give my gratitude to her as well. Anna.
Friends, once again, I would like to use the word of the day and say that I am filled with gratitude for you being with us here, for celebrating Independence Day, and at the same time, independence and unity of our values and unity of our interests. It's very important for us that you come, that you find time in your schedules, that you join us, and you join our Zoom link, and you stay with us for these 2 hours. We feel your support. We feel that the world is with us, and we stand strong and believe in our victory. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you, dear Anna. And on behalf of DniproHills Toastmasters Club, I want to ask our past immediate president, Eric Helliwell, close the meeting as well and join everyone to after party. Eric?
Okay, well, thank you again. Appreciate everybody's feedback. I love these multinational kind of meetings here, and we've got almost all 24 hours of the time zone covered, you know, and I know some people go through a lot of strain to wake up really early too, especially, you know, so those are in the Americas, and that really is impressive. And I would like to say to everybody, encouraged to please come to the meetings when they're available for you, either in person or live. And it's a good community. It's really helpful as well for Ukrainian clubs to feel this support and to know that they're always in our hearts wherever we are. So, and they're certainly showing their heart, and we need to show ours as well. So with that said, maybe we could do a final photo here. So I will close from our side here, and let's all give our best smile for the photo here. It's okay? All right, great. Thank you all. And after party starts right now.